This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everyone. A risky start, but Simon's managed to do it. Believe it or not, inside that nest is a female. The male that was sitting there is very, very proud because all his craftsmanship has paid off and a female has came to inspect his hard work. How joyous. Will she like it? Will she not? We do not know, but she's sitting inside that nest right now. One of my favorite things to watch in the bush, the weavers. So everyone, it's that time of day. Get ready for your live safari through the African bush. Welcome on board, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, as always. And we've just spotted an elephant. We're at Treehouse Dam, and I think the elephants are going to come here to drink. Well, I can only see one at the minute, but there could possibly be a herd coming here to quench their thirst on this very hot, sticky day. I can only describe it as clammy. It's not comfortable. There's no air. My name is Lauren and I do have Simon on camera, and what we're going to do is actually move. We're on the dam wall, and if this elephant comes to drink, I am blocking his path, and that's not okay. So Simon, we're just going to turn and then do a U-turn and come back and look at him. It's not okay to block the animal's sort of trajectory and access to water. So just bear with me while I do a mini U-turn. So everyone, before I forget, we're coming to you live from many different locations. Djuma Private Game Reserve is just one of them. So please do talk to us. Send in your comments and your questions and your jokes, your songs, whatever you wish. Use the @FC on the YouTube chat, #WildEarth on Twitter. You can head over to wildearth.tv/explorers. And kids, we want to hear from you the most. No offense, adults, but you gotta love the kids' questions. You email them, kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. Okay. Bear with me. So I'm back on the wall again, but what this means is that I can gauge his trajectory, and if he is really coming to the dam to drink, I can reverse back. Can you get him from here, Simon? He may not. He looks rather wet. You see the darker skin shows when an elephant is wet. So he could have quenched his thirst already or cooled down. But elephants do need to drink a lot of water. Their digestive process with all that fibrous dung is really not adequate. It's inefficient, really, and that's why the water helps sort of the process along. And that fibrous dung can be very hard work. Debbie, you're right. It's a good drive when you started with elephants. Simon and I had the most wonderful sighting with them this morning that you all got to witness. I really love spending time with elephants. Can you feel that breeze, Simon? I hope you can all hear it. It's bringing relief. It's just been a very strange day. Okay, so we shall watch this elephant. Hopefully, he's going to come to the dam. But for now, we're going to send you across to Andrew to say good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Sitting here in this very open, warm day. And my name is Andrew. This afternoon, I have Marcel on camera. So we decided to actually check the western of the camp. What we're seeing here is antelope, as impalas. They're waiting in this open area. And then also was a leopard track here, which I think was actually midday. And the reason I'm saying midday is because of that, it's been a little bit of a drizzling during, I think just after 10 o'clock there, it was like drizzling. And then it went stop. So these tracks of a single a leopard that walk here, it's on top of these all drizzling. So, and then headed east. So I'm not sure because I'm close to the gate here. Could be that Shidulu or another leopard, female leopard around here. I'm not sure. So I'm gonna spend time in this area, checking. That's why this impala, they weren't gonna go into a thicket right now. They'll probably maybe witness something during the course of the day. Remember, we're coming live to you from this location, and for you to communicate with us, you can use kids questions at wildearth.tv, also on hashtag wildearth, as well as at FC YouTube channel, and also on wildearth.tv/explorer. That's how you're going to be communicating with us. So for now, I'm going to try slightly just go back or keep up with this impalas. We found out that leopard, maybe she's not far away from us, and not far away from impalas. Since they don't want to really, seems to be here, they also, maybe they split between the groups, which look like they're going to run maybe across to the south, where there it's thicket. It's only worried them that because they don't want to now be in the bushes where they don't trust, where they can't see clearly. So if this leopard is still around here, I'm not sure if it's all about maybe sense marking situation, reactivating her boundary territory. Maybe, she can continue moving far away from here, but we're gonna spend time in this area just to see if we can actually able to come right with this female leopard track.
Laurent, there's cheetah inside Professor. Straight north.
Sorry, everyone, I'm in the middle of...
I'm not sure where are you. I'm going straight in. All three is headed, also responding on the sighting.
I'm live right now. I'll get back to you. Sorry about that, everyone. The Game Drive radio has a mind of its own. We try to talk when we're not live, but, well, So ones came for a drink at the far end of the dam. I'm glad we moved our vehicle. But the other one isn't. There only appears to be two of them right now. And you can see Treehouse Dam is actually overflowing at the other end. Water is everywhere. Lilylan, you're 8 years old. Well, they're big animals and it's very hot out here. Us humans, we can sweat. I'm sure I can safely say that both Simon and I are sweating right now because that's what humans do to cool down. By us sweating, water droplets are coming onto our skin and it's taking away the heat. It's a really effective method of cooling down. But lots of different animals have different ways to cool down. And out here in Africa, it's not much shelter, especially for a big animal like an elephant. So what's the perfect way to cool down when you can't sweat? Water. Throw water all over yourself. Cool down. Let it soak into your wrinkles. It'll keep you cool in the exact same way that sweat does. It's just moisture on skin. And the moisture is taking away the heat. So it's the exact same way that sweat operates, but elephants can't sweat themselves. So they just love splashing water on all over themselves. They also love swimming. They love getting in the water. They just have the best time. Now there are 3 cheetah up in Buffelshoek, but unfortunately I'll need to get onto the radio in order to call myself in. But that would be very exciting if we could get up there and go see 3 cheetah. I imagine it's a coalition of males. Could be a mother and cubs. but it's very, very exciting. So it's quite a drive away, it's quite far, but I'll still do my very best to see if we can get up there and spend some time with Cheetah. I know that we see Cheetah a lot in Tswalu and Pinda, but here in Djuma, it's very, very rare. It's actually on Simon's bucket list.
Direction of a sleepy sky along the fire break.
Rosalind, elephants travel in herds. That's their social dynamics. And yes, it's related to females. Females stay with the herd for life, and males, as with most male mammals, do disperse. They disperse and go seek other herds. Once they get to a certain age, they'll be ousted and they'll leave. So yes, they stick together and they travel in a herd. Can be quite large groups. Once they get too large, they can split into kinship groups. I'm glad I wasn't on the damn wall. I'm going to lose our elephant soon. He's heading down into the drainage. And I'm going to get on this radio and see if we can take a standby for the cheetah. And for now, you guys are heading down to Tswalu.
Approaching the drive. I'm not going to stop.
Good afternoon and welcome to Tswalu. At the moment, I'm admiring this beautiful white-browed Sparrow Weaver nest. While we're starting to notice that there's a storm brewing in the distance. The temperature at the moment, some 35 degrees Celsius in the Kalahari, and as you can notice, there's also rain that's already falling. Hopefully this is going to make the Kalahari even greener than when it's normal. As we already mentioned, the Kalahari has received much higher rainfall than normal, and it's already added up to the greening of the landscape, as what you can notice. My name is JP LaRue, and behind the camera we've got Davi. Our plan for this afternoon is to go and follow up at one or two of the den sites and see if we can potentially locate on Cape Fox, which is one of the smaller dog species which we were hoping to find. On the nest. We're going to start searching for our little foxes, and in the meanwhile we're going to hand you over to Busani, who is viewing a giraffe.
Welcome to Pinda and beyond, everyone. We have found a giraffe. Look like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 giraffes, and you can see the two on the right hand side. There's a female. Have a look how thin their horns are, very thin, and they got tuft of hair. So have a look. There's a very interesting behavior on this giraffe in front of us. She's staring right on top of this tree. And on the other side where we can't see, there's some zebras. So because it was a nice hot day today, so there was a leopard that was seen around this area. So because it was nice and hot. Hi everyone, my name is Busane, and behind the camera we've got Owen. And we're gonna drive around this tree because it was nice and hot day. We're expecting the leopard to be up on a tree to try to get away from flies in the ground. So we're gonna drive nice and slowly forward and look up on the tree. So these animals sometimes they do help us a lot to find cats. Giraffe, it's an only animal that they don't really make a lot of noise if they spot a predator. So we're gonna keep looking up here on this tree on the left-hand side. I can see some spots. Sure. We are looking straight into the sun this side, but we've got a leopard here. We can just see some spot and a tiny little movement up there on a nice shady spot. But we are, thank you, welcome back everyone. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be back as well, to be able to see the female leopard. We're gonna loop us around us away from the sun so that you can see this leopard nicely. Yeah, she's hidden very well there. Yeah, I'm gonna loop around. They're not too far away from this leopard because the leopard is up on a tree and they're not aware for the leopard. Obviously, it's because it's much higher up on the tree. We are going to see it nicely from this side. Owen, can you get some spots there? Like halfway up on the tree. So Owen is going to show you the leopard. You can just see the tail hanging down there as well. She's painting very heavily. So in the last couple of days, she's been eating on impala carcass, which is a little bit further away from here. So we were checking earlier on around the carcass, and we only found out she's moved. I think because perhaps she wanted to find the water hole, the water close by, and we're not too far away from the water hole. So I think the reason why she moved away from the carcass, it's because there's not much meat left on the carcass. So now she's going to start patrolling her territory. Can just see her there painting. And she chosen a very Mokamo, yes, it's quite tricky to see her. She's hidden very well there. You can just see the spot patterns. So this is why to be able to work here, you have to be very, very sharp and have very good eyesight as well. So we're going to try to reposition a little bit. I wanted to show you exactly where the leopard is. Just hold on a second as I'm driving. Wow, but it's really nice to see her again. I'm so happy to find this leopard. I was a little bit panicking that I'm not going to find her. Okay, yeah. The view, it's going to be very tough, but I'm going to try my best. Okay, we can just see her face there. Wow, that's amazing. It seems like it's not going to get any much better than that. This is the only perfect gap we have here. As you can see, there's a lot of branches on the way as well. But she's quite happy there. Oh, I think we're gonna sit here a little bit and see what she's gonna do. And while we're waiting here, we're gonna take you to Andrew, and he's gonna show you another leopard.
Thank you so much for that. So it's amazing what we got here now. We got a Tingana and a legend of this area. And as you can see, looks okay. He's actually painting. It's probably because of the the meat that he was seen feeding yesterday. And I know that this morning with nothing they found in the area, it happens maybe he dragged it further where they couldn't discover it. And it's not actually the female who we're tracking. It happens the female could be around here. It's going to be very interesting if they ever bump on one another. He should be free right now because Hukumure has moved back to the west. I saw his tracks this morning. And Tingana just all of a sudden come from the north, you know. He's now literally right on the boundary, Juma and the Babasuhuk. And he was actually seen moving when we got him there. They handed over the sighting and he was still moving. He just found himself a shadow right here where he's just going to paint. He's probably going to move because every now and then it's cloudy sometimes, which then it covers the heat. And again, as now it's open, so that's why he's got a little shadow to hide on. And he's still looking a beautiful cat. His condition actually is great. Well, though I don't actually see him quite often. But, you know, this is so cool just to see him. He still have his beautiful face. Nothing much changed there. So he's not actually in nomadic yet. He's still probably dominating around here. It's true. I'm happy to hear that, you know. It's so cool that, you know, you also get to see him back in the area. I know often you actually see in his tracks, like the other day he was actually fighting, which I think was last week. Got an update from the west that he was actually fighting, you know, this fighting between him and Hukumure. I think it's been going and going. But it doesn't look like he has a new scar or any cut on his face. Well, a lot of time those, you know, male leopards, they already have a lot of a scar mark in all the cut from the claw mark during that fight. Such an stunning animal. So there's another vehicle responding to the sighting. But yeah, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference for him being lying down there. Then I'm sure he's going to be doing a lot of movement. If he shows a lot of movement this time of the day, and then at night you're probably going to be on move as well. So I'm going to stay put. At the meantime, I will be sending you over to JP. Sorry, Tswalu, about that. So now our beautiful male leopard just actually now is turning away. What happened? You know, they actually maybe spend a lot of time lying down. We saw actually Kalamba this morning. Also, she trying to do the same, though she was up in a tree. But for them, when they lie one side for a long time, especially when they have full belly, they tend to switch the other position every now and then just to get comfortable. So it's quite green out here. The grass is taking place, is quite tall grasses that is around. But, you know, it's good for the leopards, especially that they really love being in a thicket. When they come to the open area, as long as it's tall grasses, they can still move in, do their hunt in the open area using advantage of long grasses to hide. So I'm going to be staying put here. I'm not going to move anywhere right now. I'm going to be sending you to a JP with his butterfly.
Good afternoon and welcome back again to Tswalu. We're still with our white-browed Sparrow Weaver nest, but in the meanwhile there's a little grayer butterfly that landed close by to us, which we are viewing. It's one of the most beautiful of all the butterflies, and if you look at those black-orange combinations of colors, they often stand out when they're at flight. We also notice with these color combinations, they generally imply that these butterflies are incredibly toxic, and therefore they can aimlessly fly around without actually being harassed by larger predators, as these birds and predators have already learned that they are distasteful in nature. So to come back to our white-browed sparrow weavers, which we were telling you about, we shortly will show you a picture again of how they look like. Just to let you know the interesting facts about them, what we would like to share is that they are cooperative breeders, which means that there's a dominant pair within the group that's assisted by a number of other individuals that will help them to raise their young. This is a very common strategy that we find in the Kalahari. We find this with mole rats, we also find it with surrogates, also known as the meerkats in this area, and a number of other bird species. Although there is a dominant pair that has been helped by a number of other birds, we find that the dominant pair would be able to raise their young. But with a small group of birds that we do find in South Africa, they've actually lost the ability to successfully raise their own young, and therefore has become dependent on these nest helpers. I just would like to show you a picture or two of some of these. And some of them that are quite well known from the eastern half of South Africa, as known as a white-crested helmet shrike, as well as the red helmet shrike that we have over here. Other bird species that we find that also follows this strategy where they are entirely dependent on additional helpers is also the southern ground hornbill, which is one of the largest hornbill species which we find in southern Africa. It's coming back to show you those nests again. These are the nests belonging to the white-browed sparrow weavers. And for those that might have not seen the picture earlier on, we're just going to focus for you on the picture of the white-browed sparrow weaver again.
Got it.
Quite often when you do view white-browed sparrow weavers fixing in mixed bird parties, we see that they quite often dominate the other birds and aggressively will push them away from food sources. In the meanwhile, we're going to link you back to Dumansani, who is currently enjoying the sighting of a leopard that's just made his way up into a tree.
Wow, we're still sitting with this female leopard, and she's still resting there. I think she's not rushing to get anywhere. I think she went to drink water, and perhaps on the way back to the carcass, and she found this nice big shady tree, and she might rest here for a little bit and wait for the sun to go down. And once it's a little bit cooler, she'll then perhaps head straight to the direction of the carcass and finish and try to finish that carcass off. So I think because it's nice and cool, it's nice and hot. It is a nice hot day today. So I think we're gonna have to leave her and come back perhaps later on and try to find her again. Because we don't really see much of her where she is, beside that she's painting very heavily there. Back in that, my favorite thing about the leopard is that if they're hunting, if they're stalking something and they're very patient, sometimes you'll wait and wait for about like even an hour sometimes, and as soon as you thought that it's gonna pounce onto something and it decide to lie down and wait for the right time, they don't want to miss any opportunity. But if they do have a carcass like this female, that she's got a carcass now, if the opportunity presents itself, then definitely they will go for it, because they don't know when it's gonna be the next meal for them. So they do take whatever it comes around. Wow, I think because this leopard it's not going anywhere, we're gonna go and try to find ourselves a cheetah. And while we're going there, we're gonna take you across to Andrew with his lazy leopard.
Great, good luck. And still the same with our leopard here, the Tingana. He hasn't actually shown any sign of a movement since he looked away from us. And it's good position here where we are right now, because there on the other side we found there's like a dead wood which is going to be right in front of him. So we're going to take time. He's going to be maybe turning around to us shortly. He's been doing that for quite some time, and he's been lying face away from us now for at least like 5 minutes already. And probably in the next another 5 minutes he will probably look at us. For such a big male leopard like this, you know, he would kill average size of prey species such as full-grown warthog. And I saw him done that. I saw him feed on a female waterbuck up north. And then also he's been seen feeding on a kudu and a female nyala as those. So he can easily bring down fully grown kudu if he could. He has a chance, because it's all about suffocate the ones that get into the neck and that block the airways, so die. Animals usually die of a choke, not to breathe. Then it will be so hard for him to put that amount of meat up in a tree where he has to feed on the ground. It comes so much sometimes when the meat rot, since it's plenty of meat, he cannot actually consume it once or in 3 days then. And the smell take places. And that's where you see a lot of, vultures, these visitors, scavengers. Finally, the hyena arrive into that area. And sometimes I seen him sharing with the hyena the kill. So the hyena got into the area where there was a whole impala on the ground, and then the hyena took it. So there was only one hyena, luckily. And then the hyena took away the meat, and we actually fall right in the far end. Finally got it back, but there was like a busy trying to get a little piece, whoever's going to win in there. Eventually the hyena was feeding on the other side, and then he was feeding on the other side. Some brave male leopard, they can do that. I saw him done that, which is actually so amazing. Well, I think he does know that. This is something to do, it's so special that when a cats, more especially lions, leopards, when we're talking about this situation of interbreed, it's so important. Those animals that don't really interbreed, they're more likely to know their siblings and their offsprings, and not the avoidance of not to mate with them. Or and then he definitely knows every time he's around, wherever they are. Some of them, if we talk about Lamba, which is as far in the east, so every time, since it's the daughter of him, then she would probably, everywhere she sent mark and things like that, he would probably pick it up and then he would know who she is. So he would know actually, but maybe also, I'm not sure if you would know, you count amount of them, how many, that I'm not sure, but you would know every time you probably come across their scent marking. Now it's just flat. And that's stuck in bed. Indeed, yes. Him and Mvula. I know Mvula actually, he actually went far too much than him. So he's still in a very good conditions. And Mvula, since I witnessed him when he was starting to get skinny, there was not actually disease take places, that was all about age-wise. So, he's actually, we're talking about the body size. It's kind of like maybe they were equal. So those two, yes, they're actually biggest male leopard I ever seen around here in Juma. But I know for sure, which, if I remember correctly, Anderson also, which he was up in the west, that he was also a lot bigger, but I didn't actually have much of a chance of meeting him quite often. But I heard he was also big as well. This big, where male leopard, they go bigger in size compared to females, where females, they go medium size, where female go medium size, where male go higher and fully body size. So even they still cubs, if they brother and sister, you're able to see the difference in terms of the size, where female are smaller and the male's also bigger. And in that time, even though they're still taken care by their mother, so it's a lot of push from one another. So ever got into places where she lead them to kill, for an example. So privilege for the brother always to go first to feed. And they're always, the smaller one as the females, always pushed off. The food, whatever's left at the end, she'll return back to finish it off. And it's so cool that they, when they feed, they don't actually, there's no cooperation of feeding. So take turns, not like you see on cheetah or lions, these wild dogs. Then they're very much solitary animal. So this solitary thing started from very young age. They get used to that. From cubs, age of anything from 6 up to 9 months old, that they already understand about, even separate from one another whenever the mother left them in hiding places where she knew. So he's head up. So I'm gonna stay put here. I'm sending you over to JP with his birds facts.
Welcome back again to Tswalu. We've just stopped again to look at a camel fawn, acacia. So now, one of the things that we look at quite often when we look at fawns, or if we hear the word acacia, we sometimes wonder where the name is actually derived from. It's actually derived from the Greek language, and it means fawned, and it's derived from the word acanthos. Now, a few years ago, they actually reclassified these trees, but for simplicity's sake, we just generally refer to them as acacias. But I'm going to explain to you some of the differences between the classification system which they now will follow. So if they have straight fawns, we have classified them into the genus called Vachellia. And then if we have them with paired fawns, which is downward curving, as what we have over here, of Acacia mellifera, this is then referred to as a Senegalia. So the group of acacias in Africa, therefore, has been divided into two groups. However, the trees that form part of the Australia, they're still referred to as acacias. One of the things that we do find about the acacias of Australia compared to the Senegalias and the Vachellias is that they don't have any fawns. So why on earth would they have evolved fawns? The simple reason is there to protect yourself against browsers, animals that eat leaf material, animals such as giraffe as well as kudu, that loves feeding on these trees. One of the interesting things that we quite often notice is that with the younger trees, we find incredibly large fawns, which is there to aid and to protect the tree. However, as the tree actually becomes older, it will actually invest less energy to the center of a tree in forming fawns, because these areas are now protected against smaller browsers. The other thing that I find particularly interesting about a fawn is that it's actually a modified leaf. So therefore the plant can choose. Either I can invest in producing energy and protecting myself, or I can rather produce a leaf and produce energy by photosynthesis and producing food for myself. The beautiful sounds of a white-browed sparrow weaver that you can hear. It's just sitting up in the nest over here. I'm not sure if you will be able to see him because he's stuck inside the nest. Good afternoon and welcome to the show. With regards to that question, it's the only species of sparrow weaver that we have in South Africa. However, if you do go to East Africa, there's a number of other species which is even more beautifully colored than the sparrow weavers that we have over here, and totally looks related to the sparrow weavers that we have in South Africa. From here, we're going to go and continue and see what we can find. It's still incredibly hot and virtually nothing is moving as yet. We're really hoping that this beautiful storm that's developing on the horizon will actually bring some form of rain and cool down the earth a little bit and let the animals become a little bit more active. It's quite impressive to often watch a springbok after a storm, especially if it's rained, how excited they can be.
Thanks, JP. So we still have our beautiful Tingana. It looks like we are the only one on lock right now, for now. And I believe the rest of the other guys are all trying to look for something else. Some of them haven't actually get mobile yet. And it's good, we spend time with this male just to see how he's going to be, busy about and when he's going to start to move again, where I believe since he was moving, you're probably going to move further south. This was a general direction, so coming south. You may end up in maybe Gary Dam, Vuyatela Waterhole there, or maybe Quarantine. Remember, they actually love it so much, being in this kind of area where it's grasses, a lot of trees most, and then it's a lot of marula trees, it provides their safety. And every time they host their prey, they use this marula tree. They can use any of the other trees fine when it is not a decent marula tree around here. But marula trees, it's actually so comfortable for them to use it to host their prey. And then hopefully it's going to make communication or a vocal sound, which then is going to be more interesting. If he ever does that, it means that female that she's around here, she'll be able to respond to it. I'm going to stay put here.
Our highly mobile animal is sunbathing because it has to. We have a little Marsh Terrapin here. And sea turtles, tortoises and terrapins all belong to testudines. That's the group collectively that they belong to of reptiles. And believe it or not, oviductal sperm storage is really well known in females of almost all taxa in reptiles. Well, what does that mean? Well, female testudines can actually store viable sperm, not old, non-viable, completely viable sperm for a really long time. How remarkable is that? So sometimes, in some species, a single insemination, one-off mating, never to be repeated, is enough to complete a female's entire reproductive output for one nesting season. So that can extend to hundreds and hundreds of offspring laid over a long period of time from one single insemination, one mating bout. Now, for some terrestrial species, so not the sea turtles, some sort of the standard reproductive tactic, if you like, is to mate before hibernation or estivation, or whichever word you would use. Hibernation is actually not the correct word for reptiles, my apologies. But mate before that period of torpor or dormancy and store the sperm over winter because you found the right mate. He was a goodie. You mated with him, store the sperm. And then when you come out of that state, that deep state of torpor, and you're awake again in the summer months, you can use that sperm to fertilize your eggs. Or not even summer, I should say spring. Isn't that amazing? So you've met the right mate, you're able to store it and keep it viable. And when you wake up from the estivation, you can, or the brumation, you can then use that sperm that you already have. You don't need to seek a mate, don't need to waste any energy. You've got it. And then you can use it. It's an incredible reproductive tactic from a lot of terrestrial testudines. Hyena boy. Hello, hyena boy. I've never heard your name before. You must like hyenas. Guess what? So do I. Now, your question is a common one, and I'm just going to show you an image because I think images are a lot easier to sort of process and listen to me ramble on. So tortoises, they're terrestrial. So that means they live on land. They're not adapted or specialized for life in the water. So this is the tortoise here, Simon. Big dome carapace. This is a leopard tortoise, actually. It's vegetarian, and it can retract its head into the shell. So when it's scared, it'll retract its head and hide from predators. So the feet have actually got claws, and what that means, not flippers, it's specialised for life on land. Now, the next one, the terrapin, this one here, Simon. The terrapin, which is what we're looking at right now, the marsh terrapin is aquatic. It spends its entire life in fresh water. It's omnivorous, so it'll eat vegetative matter and other animals. Now, it can retract its head in, but sideways. Now, if you just look at here, you can see the feet are clawed, but they've also got webbed toes. And this is for life on land and in the water. Now, the turtle, the sea turtle, this one here on the right is actually a hatchling of a leatherback turtle. And it's completely aquatic, living its life in the sea. All 7 species of sea turtles live in the ocean, and they're carnivorous. Some eat coral, some eat sponges, yes, but they are all animals. Depends on the species, depends on what they eat. And sea turtles, believe it or not, they have a very flexible neck. It's difficult to see because this is a hatchling, but they can't retract the head back in. Last feature, flippers. There's no way that this turtle can actually properly walk on land. Sea turtles do pull themselves out to lay their eggs on land. But it's a very difficult movement. I'll demonstrate, Simon. So they actually use their flippers and they have to pull very, very hard on the sand. Pull. And that's why you know a sea turtle has laid eggs on the beach. When you do the sort of rounds in the morning, you can see the track marks. It's very, very obvious. And once you see those pulling of the flippers, which takes a lot of energy, because it's a big, heavy body mass, if you want to know if a sea turtle's been successful or not, look in the middle. Now, they've got a flat plastron, so when they're pulling themselves, they're going to leave a flat sort of area of sand. If there's a line going down the middle of that sand, that is the female genitalia once eggs have been laid. If that line's not there, then it was probably a fake lay. No eggs were successfully laid, and she came on land. She didn't like the area, and she, decided not to lay eggs. Testudines are just fascinating. They really are. I think our little terrapin's still there somewhere. Simon has far better eyesight than I have. But that's the difference, hyena boy, between tortoises, sea turtles, and terrapins. They belong to the same group. They're very similar in terms of biology, but they are different. They do have their differences. They live in different habitats, different diets, and therefore different biology. That was part of my job in the Maldives, to go around the beaches and check for track marks if any turtles have came and laid eggs. Sometimes you'll see the tracks, but there'll be no digging. The female aborted or could not find the right area. But what's amazing is sea turtles are philopatric. They will return, the female will return to their natal beach, the exact same spot that they were born to lay their eggs. They'll travel the global oceans, but when it's time for her to lay eggs, she'll travel all the way back to that very beach that she was born on. Ooh, quickly over to Pinda.
Welcome back, everyone. On the way to try find ourselves a cheetah, we have come across with a single lioness walking around. She's been around the waterhole, so perhaps now she's going back into the thicket. And judging by the size of her and on her front legs, she's got some blood on. So we're going to try to go around again and try to get her walking toward us. It might happen that she's going back to the rest of the pride, and perhaps to go and call the cops and take them to the carcass. So we're going to try to stick with her and see what she does. We are so lucky to be able to find a female lion walking around in this hot day. It's unbelievable. I can't believe how lucky I am. So lucky. See the way she's walking, she's in a mission. She wants to get somewhere. So that is why I think that she might going to try find her calves and perhaps take them to the carcass, because on her front paws she's got some blood, which means while she went to drink water, she came across with opportunity to hunt, and then she went for it. So we're gonna do a much bigger loop. And hopefully she's gonna stay along the road. Right over here in front of us. But I want to get stuck, mostly right next to the line. See, she's walking past some nice shady spot. That tells me that she's definitely going somewhere else. Perhaps to go and fetch the calves. See, she's taking a shortcut. Yeah, she's got some blood just on the bottom of her chin. So which means she was eating earlier on. Okay, she's gonna keep walking along the road, which is a good thing for us. So while she's doing that, we're gonna try to keep up with in it. So she's normally hanging around this area a lot. So she's from the pride. So she's coming from the pride of lion.
Great, everyone. So our leopard is still lying flat. You can see the grass is just the grass movement. It's hardly to even see. If you're actually tracking him here, you would find yourself very difficult to even spot him. And a lot of time happened to most of trackers and the guides when they follow the cats, where they finally sometimes so flat. And then all you do is, if they spot you, then they would just gonna show themselves, because then they have to move away from you. So a lot of time, you know, they are very flat. But actually, it's cool that, you know, he able to make his way out from wherever he was. Probably stuck with that, kill that he had. The guys there discovered it yesterday morning, up in one of the marula trees out there. And then I'm not sure what kind of kill was it. So maybe it's one of these baby impala. And then for him as a male, a big male like this, it actually makes sense if he actually ate it yesterday morning and a whole day yesterday. And nobody stole it from him. And then the whole day today, which is probably maybe done by now. I wouldn't think this is all about him looking for water. He's going to return back to that area, because water station is even closer where he just came from. So maybe this is actually now permanently moving around here, to return back in the area where he was. But he's not actually bad. He's trying his best to actually stick around, even though he's got a lot of challenge this time. But he is actually strong enough. I think he's managing. I've seen a lot of males, when they come across a lot of this challenge, they move out immediately. But I think he's strong enough, so he's handling it. and so much of this movement of this dominate on a leopard. Rudy, you want to know the difference between the leopard and the cheetah. So a cheetah, they have a very long body, slender body they call them, and long legs as well. So they're well built for the speed they use or they have. And then of course, and if you look at their face, looks like under their face, under this eye they have, it's kind of like a marking down both sides, like a tear mark, but it's permanently painted. It's not actually removed. It's actually color of them there. And they have a very, if you look at their eyes, it's more reddish eye the cheetah have. And the spot pattern they have, it's actually solid spot, where leopard, they would have a rosette spot. So a cheetah, they have a dot, which is more blackish, but is now round, golden round and black in the middle and things like that. So that's what the difference is. But also, the habitat for these two, it's quite different. Where cheetah, you mainly find them in the open area, that's where they mainly hunt. When you see them hunt in the open area, where they don't actually stalk for a long time, so they rely on their speed, those ones. Where this one we're looking at it right now, they rely on getting close enough to pounce if it's possible. They can chase if it's necessary, but they're more likely to give up for a chase if whatever they, after it is getting away from them. And then also they're not actually cooperate hunters. They don't hunt in group leopards. Where cheetah, if they are coalition of 3 males, same blood animal, and then they were more likely to dominate the same range in the area together, hold the territory together as a brothers, and that is actually cooperate a hunter and also cooperate feed. Where leopards, they don't. They hunt alone, most likely not to able to share with the other leopard, unless if the female with their cubs trying to feed her cub, because that's part of her job, just to make sure she hunt for these young ones and then get them to feed quite often. So I was talking about earlier that we find when a female raising her cubs and so they finally, separate from one another, and very difficult for the mother to find them together when she returns back. So I'm going to stay put again. I'm going to be sending you over to JP with his insects.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Tswalu. Currently we're looking at an armored ground cricket, one of the most intimidating looking of all cricket species or insects. They look rather alien to me. So if you do look a little bit closer, they get their name armored ground cricket from the spines that they have on their body, which they use to protect themselves against predators. However, they can also switch over to chemical defense when they are mishandled or being eaten by predators, where they will release a distasteful toxic substance which will deter the predator. A few years ago, I was watching a number of jackals picking them off the side of the bush, and very soon after, the jackal actually got sick from eating it. He would look very dissatisfied and actually moved on. So a few other things that I do find fascinating about crickets is that they can produce a sound by scraping parts of their legs together. In this case, in some cases, they will also use their wings as parabolic reflectors to actually let that sound much louder. This guy, unfortunately, has no wings, so therefore he cannot do that little trick. However, his little wings are vestigial stubs, which he uses for rubbing against his body to produce that sound that he can attract a mate. We also find that the shield that forms over the head actually acts as a parabolic reflector and resonating the sound for this cricket species. So, a few other interesting things about these guys is that they're quite romantic. So what they will often do is they will provide a high protein secretion to the female as a gift. She will assess the quality of this high protein quality meal that she gets from them. If she's not satisfied, it means she's not going to invest energy in him. It means he's going home without a date. Quite often when we do find these crickets, they're feeding on plants. However, I've also seen them eating one another. Quite often when they are on the roads, they do get hit by cars. And then you'll see that more and more of them is attracted to the ones that are on the road. And unfortunately, these in return will also get killed by vehicles. We also often see that they will even feed on quillia chicks. A few years ago, I managed to see an outbreak of red-billed quillia. And they were feeding on the chicks in these nests. To answer your question and how we find them, quite often I do just get out of a car and I'm quite always have my eyes open for them because I find insects and small things even more fascinating than the larger animals within the bush. Amongst a few animals that I have seen eating them in large numbers is actually marabou storks. A year or two ago, I was watching the largest group of marabou storks I've ever seen, between 200 and 300 of these birds, all feeding on these almond ground crickets. Good afternoon, Sherry, and welcome to the show. Yes, you're 100% right. As they mature, they become a little bit more dark brown in coloration, and they don't have these brightly colored patterns that they have as when they are young. It's most likely that these color patterns also act as a warning to potential predators to leave them alone. However, with adults, the spines are very well developed, and most likely the toxins are less necessary as a chemical defense mechanism. Something fascinating that I would like to share with you about crickets is when they are calling, especially those species that are calling at night. And we can actually determine the temperature by simply listening to the amount of stridulations that they produce per second. The cooler it is, the slower the stridulation process. The warmer it is, the faster the stridulations will be, which they produce. And each of those stridulations will be related to a specific temperature. We're going to continue our search for some animals in the meanwhile, but we're going to hand you over to Vasani, who is currently viewing a lioness.
Welcome back, everyone. We're still following this female lioness. She's still walking around. Sure, it's really amazing to be able to follow the female in the daytime and in the hottest day like today. And she's still walking in a good pace. So this morning they have found a female lion with 3 saberat not too far from here. So which means this is the mom that she's perhaps going to fetch the cubs and lead them into the carcass, because she did come across with zebras and impalas earlier on, but she was not very interested because of the heat of the day, and she was walking a very good distance as well. So where she's heading, there's a nice pen system. So perhaps she's going to go there and drink water on the way to her saberat cubs. So because the saberat cubs are still depending a lot onto her, So that is why she's going straight there where she left them up this morning. So we're going to loop around and wait for her on the other side, and hopefully she does walk straight. Miss Sunshine, so to age the cats, you have to look at the color of the nose. So if it's a young cat, it does have like a pinkish nose. If it's an old cat, it will have a darker black nose. So it's an only way that you age the cats. But because I'm so lucky to be in this game reserve for a number of years, so I know these cats like the back of my hand. So we're gonna go around and try to find her on the other side, because it seems like she's gonna walk straight through this dried up water hole on the way to the leaky pen system up on top. And there's not a lot of shade where she's gonna walk through, so that tells me that she's still walking and trying to get into her calves. See, she's using those game paths because it's easier for her to walk than walking through the long grass, and she does want to avoid the ticks and thorns, obviously, in the long grass where she can't see. Snakes as well. She can easily step on top of the snake, which is not a good thing for her. Have a look. Wow, that's unbelievable. Holistic, these lions here, mostly, they do tend to hunt more in a daytime. They normally prey for warthogs, but normally lions are more successful hunters at night. But these ones here in Pinda, more especially, they have learned that it's much easier for them to hunt warthogs in the daytime than hunting at night. So they do prefer to hunt in the daytime. So I have seen like a good number of lions making kills, but it's always very interesting to see them catching something. So while she's busy walking around, so as soon as she gets so close to where she left her cubs, she's gonna call them softly, and they're gonna come out and greet her, and then perhaps she's gonna start leading them back into the carcass, because it's a long distance for her to drag the carcass to the cubs. That is why she walks and calls them. And hopefully there's nothing that's going to come across with the carcass that she did manage to catch. So you see she's going to walk straight up on that game path. As soon as she's up on that game path, we'll then loop around into the front and try to see her. Perhaps because it's a nice hot day, she's going to go there and drink water. It's going to be nice to see the lion drinking water. I know some of you haven't seen cats drinking water before. It's going to be a nice thing to see. Okay, let's loop around because it's a long distance to get ourselves around. Wow. Okay, gonna try to keep up a pace a little bit to get across next to that water hole. So because it was a hot day today, I do have a feeling that she's not gonna disappoint me, and she's gonna... Okay, while I'm driving around, I'm gonna drive around and sit next to that pen system and wait for her to come.
Join our Explorers program so we can keep on sharing nature with the world. For a monthly subscription, you will have the opportunity to win fantastic Wild Earth expeditions, have access to an animal identification app, receive weekly highlights from our shows, and much more. All the money will go to keeping these live safaris on air, which in turn connects a global population with nature.
My name is Taylor McCurdy and I work for Eco Training. I love hearing from all of the viewers. However, I particularly enjoy those of you who have been watching for a few years. Your questions are just so advanced and they really get me thinking. If you'd like to ask a question on Wild Earth, you need to register on our website. Once you've done that, head to the live safari page and submit your questions below the live feed.
Wild Earth is launching our brand new Explorer program with an opportunity to win a very special Wild Earth expedition. The lucky winner will get a behind-the-scenes Wild Earth experience at the magnificent and beyond Ngala Tainted Safari Camp. The prize includes a 3-night stay for you and a friend with a chance to sleep out in the unique Ngala treehouse. Become a Wild Earth Explorer and stand a chance to win this and many other prizes. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, it's going to be in trouble now. Oh, this is unbelievable stuff. Here comes a hippo in too. Go, Impala. There's a hippo coming in. I can't believe what we're seeing here. This is what we normally see in East Africa. It's all over. Hippo leaping at the crocodile now. Everything's gone underwater.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
Wow. Wow, have a look at that. Look at the silhouette. Look how she's drinking. That's unbelievable. Wow. Look how she's using the tongue and putting the water inside her mouth. That's unbelievable. But the silhouette of her in the water there, it's really amazing. I'm so glad, I'm so happy she didn't disappoint myself of walking straight past this little pen system. Shame, she's changing an angle now. So perhaps maybe she wanted to see each and every side in this pen system, because they're quite vulnerable to crocodiles as well. But I haven't seen crocodile here in this pen system before. But you never know. But where she's drinking now, she's drinking on a nice shadow water. Wow, she's so tasty. And she did cover very. Let's listen quickly. You'll hear her drinking water. Wow, that's amazing. Did you hear that? See? She's still. Oh, wow. We're a little bit further away than to be here that. But it was really nice to see her drinking. So she's still in the mission. And she's walking straight past some nice shade as well. Wow. So she's going straight to where she left her cubs or Sabedat cubs this morning. Does Anne? Yeah, she is a very pretty lion. She's so pretty. and she's got very good, she's in a good condition as well. So that shows you that they do manage to catch something. They are very successful hunters. Mostly here, as I said earlier on, that they normally prey for warthogs and nyales. That's an easy target for them. So they don't really go for very big prey because if they go for buffaloes and they might injure themselves. So they don't want to do that. They rather prefer go for a nice easy prey like warthogs. Although warthogs can be dangerous as well with the sharp tusk. But they do enjoy killing those warthogs. See, she's walking straight where she left her cubs. It's going to be nice to see her cubs coming out from the bush because it was a nice hot day. They will be resting underneath one of the trees. So they're going to come out rushing up and greeting and rubbing the face, her heads around mom as well. So it's really amazing to see lions, how they socialize. So I'm looking forward to see that. So have a look on her body, on her coat. She's got like a fainty spot pattern. So those spot patterns, it's why it's helped them if they're still young around the den site to camouflage. So this female, she's not a very old female, as you can still see the spot patterns, and she's got like a the nose. She's got like a pinkish nose still, which means she's not that old. So where she left the cubs, it's somewhere in front of us now where we're going. So we might get to see the cubs shortly. Look at that. That's amazing. So you'll see as soon as she gets so close to her cubs, she's gonna start calling them. That's amazing. It's amazing how much ground they do cover. I do cover very good distance, and it feels like they're not. Safari boy, the cubs, the lioness can go a very, very big distance, more especially if she's looking for food. But she does like cover a very big distance, but not away from her territory, because the female lioness, they also have their own territories. So they do protect their territories from other lions. So she looks like she's going behind the bush. We're gonna try to keep up with her. And if she doesn't catch anything, sometimes you'll find the lioness walking for about, I'll say roughly maybe 5 to 10 kilometers away from her cubs. If she's looking for food, she then definitely, it's gonna get too rocky where we are. So we're gonna have to loop around. But she's getting so close to her cubs now, which is a good thing for us. I can't wait to see the cubs getting so excited with mom. It's exactly the same thing as us humans if your mom went to shopping in a mall. And And if your mom come back, you will be excited that she's got something for you. It's going to be exactly the same thing with them as well. So it seems like she has crossed the road. She's now on the right-hand side. So let's keep looking on the right-hand side. We might get to see her. See, she's gone straight down there into the old riverbank. It's where she left her calves. Oh, here. Wow. There she is. Now she's getting so close. So she might like go off up on the ridge there and drop down on the other side. See, now she's calling softly. Very soft call now. Wow. So now she knows that the cubs are somewhere here close by. That is why she made that soft call. Although she only called once. And because we're a little bit further away from her, we can't really hear her calling properly. Because she does like a soft call. She wants to avoid that the other predators to hear her or the other lot. Okay, we're gonna loop around. Oh, I can see the cubs. Just, Owen, can you scan straight underneath the big tree on the right hand side? Yeah, we've got the cubs now. So the cubs are moving this way. They're going to join mom. Wow, that's amazing. Can see them running. So I have lost them now, but they ran this way, which is a good thing. And you can just see the mom across the valley that side. She's gonna go and join the cubs. See, she's walking straight to the direction of the cubs now. Cubs. Oh, those are two younger cubs. So those are two younger cubs. So because we didn't see like the sound of the cub suckling around her TT or her mammal gland, it's because the cubs are getting to the stage whereby now she's gonna stop them suckling. So now she look like she's lying down. She's resting there a bit. You can just see her tail now and then. So what we're gonna do is she might like rest a little bit. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna loop around and get a little bit closer to where they are. We can't unfortunately cross this gully here. We might get stuck for a night. So while I'm gonna drive us around and try to get a little bit closer to those lions, we're gonna take you to Andrew with the leopard.
Good luck, Busan. Well, I still haven't actually moved away from our Tingana over here. I wanted just to see if maybe there's a number of vehicles heading this way, because then we're gonna have to make space for them. But for now, we still have it. Actually, we had a good chance of him spending time with this beautiful male. And this is not actually surprising me, where leopards, they can lie down, they can spend a lot of time lying flat, whether they're full, whether they're hungry. So, but they're not that bad for sure compared to the lions, where lions, 18 hours of a spending sleeping is actually way too much. Where it applies the same with leopards, sometimes can lie at least amount of that time, but they're a lot active sometimes. You see them ride their heads up, check around. I think it's something to do with that, lions, they don't worry too much about a lot of the other enemies, unless if they're in their places where it's not belong to them. See, now, as I was saying, that he's not actually bad, so he's now looking at us. You can see his beautiful ears as well. So he may actually go flat again, so you keep doing that, checking around. So there are small cats out here. When I'm saying small cat, is that because lions are the bigger cats, and there seems to be a lot of a big enemy for the leopards. Those are small cats, those cheetahs as well, and wherever the leopard take it a lot of time to sleep or rest, and you finally see, look at the yawn, was just a half a yawn net. So probably checking for a safety, listening around, probably go down flat again. But I also witnessed a leopard that was hunting in one of the days. This is in the older days where we used to have a female. Her name was White Cloth. And that. Right, quick link, Lauren.
I don't know who we have here, everyone. Male leopard. I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's Mulwati. I'm not turning my engine on or going closer, because if it's Mulwati, he'll run. It might not be Mulwati. I haven't had a good look. Scent marking. Now, I know some of you are leopard experts. Please help me out. If Andrew's with Tingana, who could this be? Okay, Simon, I'm gonna go slowly behind. But if this is Mulwati, we might not be successful. Who else could it be? #WildEarth if you're able to pause and get a view of who this male leopard is. Now, I'm not going to Ferrari Safari here. One, there's a water hole, but let's just try and get another visual. If this is Mulwati, this is incredibly good news. Okay, still walking along the road. Definitely a male, obviously, but who are you? Hukumuri does not come this far east. We're further east of Buffelshoek Dam. Okay. Okay, Simon, go. I think it's Mulwati. It's Mulwati. Wow, this is so incredible. Quickly over to Pinda.
So, on the way to the lion, to that lioness with two cubs, we have come across with the two white rhinos. So have a look on their body. They're covered with mud. So because it was a nice hot day today, so perhaps they went to the same mud wallow where that lioness went to drink water. They might have went there to wallow to try to cool themselves down. So I think these two, it's a male and a female. So these are still very young. These are saberat that have joined together for safety number, I think. And have a look at the one on the far back. there's two like brownish beds that's sitting on top of them. So those beds, they're known as a red-bill oxpecker. So have a look. It's got like bright red bill, and it's got like a yellow ring on its eye. So if you can have a look here on a bed book, it's this one over here. So sometimes you do get the yellow bill oxpecker, but not in this area. It's more like in Kruger National Park. So here we only find this red bill oxpecker. So you see the juvenile, it's got like brownish or black bill. Wow. But because we still want to get to those lions before they disappeared, we're gonna try to loop ourselves around, if that's okay. But it is really nice to see these rhinos. So they're gonna slowly graze along here. And you can see where they're busy grazing. It's got like a nice lush green grass. Okay. So before we lose the lion, let's go a little bit closer and try to find ourselves again those lions. This is really unbelievable to see two of the big five in one spot. So the lions that we were following, they're over there. They're now on our left-hand side. So we're gonna try to go off-road from here, and hopefully we find them again. It is a long way away, but we're gonna try our best. Okay, we're going to see whether those lions are still there or not. So I think she's gonna rest there a little bit. Then after that, she's gonna lead the carcass into where she caught something, because she had a blood on her face. So which is a good thing. I'm really looking forward to see her walking around with her calves. So she's gonna mostly walk the same route she walked earlier on, because she does know like the sense of direction very well, much better than me, obviously, because they've been in this area for quite some time, and this is the part of their territory. So I'm looking forward. So let's keep looking in front of us now. So as soon as we got them, or we got their view, then Owen is gonna point the camera onto them. But we are so close now. They're somewhere in front of us where we're going now. So there's a tiny little pen system here. So we do want to avoid this, because we might get stuck here. We don't want to spend a day here and trying to
We've still got him. He's acting very, very straight. He keeps turning around to look at us. You see that? He is one unrelaxed male. I mean, we know that anyway. And it's daylight after all. But this, everyone who's new, I believe James Richard, you confirmed the small Wati, just like I thought. Thank you so much. Is the dominant male of this area. Right, I'm going to turn the engine on, Simon. Just give me a minute. He's letting us stay at a distance, but he's not realized nothing like Hukamuri or Tangana. So we are just keeping our distance, of course we will, but it would be really, really something to have this leopard habituated. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out where he's gone. He's a big male. He's really big. He's bigger than Hukamori. Do you see him? Oh, there we go. There we go. Well done, Simon. Can you believe this? I can't. Never seen Mowati on patrol. Never. Let's just give it a minute in case he pops back out. He's scent marking. Haven't heard him call. But this is unbelievable. After the disappointment of the cheetah, Simon and I were feeling a little bit sad, and this has made up for it. Okay, let me go forward. He's been skittish the whole time we've known Mowati. Although apparently, from what I hear, not from my personal experience, but at night time he's quite relaxed. I've never seen him up a tree. Let's just try and get one more look. If he definitely will not look. The squirrel's not happy. The squirrel can see it, that's for sure. Wow, Mowati, where are you? Now, I know a lot of you like to know where our leopards are found, so we're almost at the junction Cheetah cut line, Buffalo cut line, fire break. I think that might have been the only visual, everyone. I think we've lost him. It could be learned behaviour from his mum. His mother, I believe, was quite skittish with vehicles. It could be that something happened to him. Maybe something bad happened. And he's got this negative feeling towards vehicles. But I think that was the last visual of him, everyone. I might sit tight here on the fire break and just see if he pops back out again. But for now, I think that was the last view. He's gone into this drainage. Simon will give you a view. And it's a thick one. Excuse the antennas, the aerials. Okay. I'm going to sit tight here and hopefully get another view of our dominant male. But for now, over to JP.
Welcome back to Tswalu. We're busy watching a red-crested koran, which is one of the smaller members of the bustard family that we were discussing earlier on this morning's drive. Slowly busy displaying. There's a number of males that are calling in the area, and one of the ways that they produce a sound is actually by bill clapping, which is referred to as a mechanical sound. Then they often follow up by the typical call that they produce. I'm just going to be quiet for a short while that you can hear the bill clapping, and hopefully that he will start his song and then start displaying. Most of you might know that this bird is often the one that makes incredible display by doing a backward somersault, by flying straight up into the air at some 20 meters and then dropping straight down to the ground. Let's hope that he's going to do that. Quite often photographers will sit for hours and hours with these birds in the hope that they can get that shot. So the aims of calling and producing these number of different sounds, as well as the display flight, is to attract a female. So if a female is impressed with what he can do in terms of call as well as in terms of display, she will decide if she will choose him as a mate. If he's worthwhile, yes, she will mate with him, and then what will happen is she will then move off on her own, lay the eggs, and he'll start calling and displaying to attract a new female. As mentioned in one of the previous editions, this is referred to as lecking behavior or as arena, where they will display on a specific little patch to attract females. We quite often find that the birds that are following this behavior in terms of lecking has young that are fully precocial and can take care of themselves. Therefore, no daddy is needed in raising the chicks. We're just going to sit for another while. There's another male calling in the distance. Hopefully this will encourage him to do the display flight. For the moment, he's at least got 3 contenders in the area that's also calling from different directions, often at least 100 to 200 meters apart from him. As part of their final display, if they have attracted a female, they do a little bit of a dance on the ground, hopping up and down. And what you'll notice is that they raise their crest, which is red in coloration, hence the name red-crested coron. That's probably one of the most impressive part of a display, and something that I've maybe have seen less than 5 times. We're going to sit and watch him for a little bit longer. Hopefully we'll be able to get a shot of him. But in the meanwhile, we're going to hand you over to Andrew that's enjoying a sighting of a leopard.
Thanks so much. And we still stationary here. It happens that, he wanted to just put his head up again and he delayed. He went back flat. Our beautiful cat. So I think he conceived a lot of energy from spending a lot of time in that kill that he had since yesterday. So if now he's going to carry on, reactivate his scent again, and then it's going to be all his duty for the whole night. We're not sure where he's going to end up to, maybe by tomorrow. But if it happens, it pushes south, he's probably maybe going to start around quarantine, or if he's going to maybe interested in going back to the west, then he's going to go back to the west. So it's all about energy, and it's all about, some leopards are very stationary. Some are a lot active, so they're all different behavior, even though all leopards, but it's where they grew up, in which area, and which mother was it, to be able to teach them, get around. And, this hunting technique, it comes from genetic, it comes from the mother, where teach them very well. And from there they exit. It's key for them to stay up. The background of the sky is so beautiful. Since they stay, they need to use the exercise or the skill that they're up with.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened to Andrew. Mr. Koza will be back. The Buffelshoek drainage. I wasn't as far east as I thought I was. He's gone into that drainage at Buffelshoek Dam. So we raced round to the dam, but he's not popping out. What a leopard. Mulwati threw a spanner in the works here at Djuma. And I firmly believe that Mulwati was the final straw for the changes in Tingana. Now, I don't know if Tingana's 100% nomadic or just going nomadic. Apparently he's sawed recently, and whether that's just sort of automatic behaviour. I've never heard him saw for a very, very long time. He doesn't seem to show territorial behaviour anymore. But I think Mulwati's sort of entrance into this area was the final straw that pushed Tingana out. I'm not sure we're going to be able to relocate him, I'm afraid, but I'm going to try. Gotta love a challenge. Dom, I'm not sure what you mean by that or how you think I would know about a state of mind, but I mean, it's behaviour changes for sure. That much we can talk about. I'm not sure we can talk about a state of mind, but becoming nomadic would mean you stop being territorial. So you live the life of being stealthy and sneaky and avoiding sort of advertising yourself. So therefore you wouldn't scent mark. Yes, you would urinate and defecate, but you're not going to scent mark and smell the wild basil, and you're not going to call, you're not going to scrape, you're really not going to sort of make everyone know that this is your territory anymore. We might need to push our antenna down a little bit here. And you're living the life quietly, and I think for Tingana that's actually a safer way for him to go because he's 14 years old. Mulwati's a big male leopard. But his state of mind, I'm not sure. But his behaviour, absolutely, it would change. And I really think Tingana's going that way if he's not there already. And it's not bad being nomadic. If it's the safer way for him to be, and it means he doesn't expend so much energy, he doesn't sort of clash with males, then that's absolutely fine. Tingana's thriving, absolutely thriving. I remember many of us were worried about him. There's really no need to be. He is in fabulous condition. Yes, he's an older male, but he's in really, really good physical condition. He's definitely, if he's not fully nomadic, then he's definitely shifted his territory. He's definitely moved further up north. But I mean, he's been seen on Chitwa, he's been seen on Torchwood, he's been seen on Arathusa a lot, Annette's. That's not all Tingana's territory. So to me, that suggests that he's definitely gone nomadic. He's no longer that dominant male. Mulwati is. He's a gorgeous leopard. He's humongous. But unfortunately, we just don't get to spend much time with him. James got him on a kill once, a warthog kill. But again, he didn't hoist. We never see him in trees. We'll be driving and we see Tlalamba, Tandi, Tingana up trees, but with Mulwati, we never see him up the trees, and I'm not sure why. So the mystery of Mulwati continues.
Thank you very much. And are we still staying here put, hoping for this leopard to get mobile? It's going to be very interesting just to see where he's going to go from here. which I think then south, because this is where he was aiming to go all the time. I was trying to explain how I witnessed a lot of hunting technique leopards they have, where during the course of the hot day, and we had a lot of time to follow one of the females that she was hunting. Well, 11 o'clock, it was already daylight and so much hot, and we follow her like 12 o'clock still, follow her, and then she was like carrying on hunting. So hungry leopard, when they're in need for a hunt, for meat, and they have to do their best to get. And what we experienced there, she wouldn't move too much, and when she approached thicket, she also, take her own time. Every time she hopped in one of these thicket, could be a baby antelope hiding. So the minute she pounced, but for nothing, and then she all hoped that maybe something it's gonna happen sometime. So some of these hunting technique, sometimes these leopards can do it. It's amazing. So it's cool that just gonna wait here, see if this leopard is gonna be showing any movement.
Oh wow, we have managed to find this female lion with 2 calves. Now they're walking back along the same route where she was walking earlier on. And have a look at the one that walking right next to Mom. That's a female cub. And the one on the far right, that's a male cub. You can just see the size different now. So these cubs are at the age of about 8 to 9 months now. So have a look at the paws of those calves. They've got very big paws, so they are gonna be a very big lions. I think they do have a very good genes as well. But remember, I pointed out the spot patterns on the mom, so have a look at the spot patterns on the calves as well. They're quite covered with spot because they're still very young. And as soon as they're older, then those spot patterns do disappear a little bit. So she's now about on that big dam, big waterhole she walked past earlier on. So now I don't think she's gonna walk straight in the middle of that dried up waterhole. Now it seems like she's gonna walk along the road because she wants to take a direct route to the carcass that she caught. I know I did promise, if you were with us earlier on, I did promise that we are going to go and try find ourselves a cheetah, but I'm really looking forward to see what's gonna happen and what animals did she caught. So it was amazing earlier on when they first meet up with Mom, and the cubs started to bite Mom and lead the way. Yes, the lion cubs here in Phinda more especially, they do grow very quickly because they don't have a lot of competition. We don't have a lot of hyenas and a lot of competition with another pride of lions. So they do have a very big space for them to walk around. And while they're walking around, they can find a lot of food in the area as well. So as they're walking through, we're gonna try to keep up with them as well. This is really amazing. I'm looking forward to see what's gonna happen as soon as they come across with the carcass. So I think we're gonna stick with this lion and see what they're gonna do. And we're gonna take you to Mike with the fighting elephants.
welcome everyone. Welcome to something very interesting. The elephant is busy pulling out a plant which is not native and throwing it away, and then it pulls up another one and throws it away. This plant that it's pulling up is called Ura, and it's very toxic if they fall to certain animals. And this
Wow, we're still sitting with these lions. The cubs were playing earlier on. Oh, look at that. So they're starting to have that energy back because it's a lot cooler now. The sun, it's not too hot. So the sun is just going behind the clouds now, which is a good thing. So she's going to cover that ground that she covered earlier on to get to the carcass. But she's still got a long way to go. So the big female, she's waiting for the cubs to get so close to her because they're still very young. So she wants to keep an eye onto them. Okay, let's go a little bit forward. Wow. It seems like now she's taking a shortcut, which is a good thing. Because she knows that if she does a longer route, and the calves will then get really tired. And because they were so excited earlier on, rubbing the face, mom, and leaking the blood on mom's chin. It was really amazing to see. And after that, they wanted to lead the way. Look at that, a little cub busy sharpening the claws. Wow. Having a stretch. Wow. So if that cub does move away, we'll then go and try to see the claw mark on that tree that she's busy sharpening her claws on it. Wow. Let's go a little bit closer and see where she was busy sharpening her claws. Look where she was busy sharpening her claws here, right next to the car. You can just see the part of the bark and that claw mark. So if you're tracking lions, sometimes you'll see the signs like that. So let's go a little bit closer to them. So if you're tracking lions, there'll be a time whereby you can't really see the tracks itself, but you only see the signs. That kind of the signs that you'll be looking for in a hard ground or hard soil like where they're walking now. It's going to be very impossible to see the tracks, but to see the signs. It's really amazing. Have a look how she's resting now. It's been a long walk for her, and she does try to lie down, and the cubs are busy annoying her because they want to go and find a male. See, she's taking a shortcut. She's gonna walk along the road. That's unbelievable. Look at that. You see the cubs are busy leading the way now. Greg, these cubs are in danger with, like if mom she left them and she went to do hunting. And because of the age of them, so the only predators that will be, it's going to be a big male lion, the new male lion that came through this territory and come across with those cubs on their own. Definitely he will try to kill them to force the female to become on estrus. Then the female would come into the area and the cubs will be already dead. But we don't have, as I said earlier on, we don't have a lot of or a big hyena population here. So I think they're getting further away. We're going to try to keep up with them. Wow. So we don't have a lot of hyenas in this area. So they don't really have a lot of predators. Sometimes it does happen that you'll find the leopard coming across with a lion cub and trying to kill the cubs. But for those cubs, because they're a lot bigger now, the chances of the leopard trying to kill them are very slim, because they're almost the size of the lion now, or the old elder lion. Wow, that's amazing. This is the very, very pretty area. It's one of my favorite spots in the whole of Game Reserve, with these huge big trees around. Wow, this is amazing. So have a look how they're walking along the road. Paula, she's not really afraid that she's gonna lose the cubs, because the cubs are in the age now whereby they're almost independent, or they're almost fully grown. They're not very vulnerable. So the cubs that will be vulnerable is the cubs that will be around 4 to 5 months or less than 6 months. Those cubs will be very vulnerable to other bigger predators, even the rock python as well, because they're born blind and they can't see. And it's when they've got like lots of predators. Okay, we're gonna go a little bit closer and see. It seems like she's going to the right direction where we first find her. So I'm very happy that she's gonna lead the cubs to the carcass. There they are in front of us. Shame, the cubs are starting to get really tired now. You see how they walk and sit and sit down. Oh, playing time? Really? So they're definitely trying to keep up with mom. What I'm going to do, I'm going to loop us around and wait for them just in front of them, so that they can walk into our direction. Shame, she's also very tired now. She's starting to pant a lot. It's because she has covered a very big distance. Look at that cub. Oh, there's a cub that's just busy trying to climb the tree. Look at that. Oh no, it's gonna fall. Hold on. Look at it, hold on. Oh, wow. Wow, that was really nice to see the cub. You don't really get to see the cubs climbing the trees like that. They've got a lot of energy. So we're going to loop around in front of them and wait for them in the front. Wow. Busy watching the mom, and she's now looking down onto the ground, which means she's starting to get tired. She's been walking like very long distance, because it might happen that where we first find her, she walks another, I would say maybe another 2 or 3 kilometers away. So, but anyway, we're gonna sit tight with her and see what she's gonna do. I'm really looking forward. I think I'm going to guess that she did catch. It's either a warthog or a nyala. I've got a feeling. But anyway, I might be wrong. I think while we're still waiting, we're still following this lion, we're gonna link you to, we're gonna take you to Lauren with the leopard.
No, it's not Mulwati, I'm afraid. No, that's definitely not Mulwati. That's not even a leopard. But this is Kalamba, our princess. And not much left of her carcass. I think it's a lamb, an impala lamb, and she's lounging. She's doing what Kalamba does best, and lunges. Now this is what I mean. We always see Kalamba, Tandi, Tangana, Shudulu up trees, the arboreal life. But with Mulwati, he just baffles me. We all talk about him in camp, not in a bad way, just in the fact that he's never seen up a tree. He must not hoist. He just must not hoist, and that's why he's never seen. I mean, the leopards are not aware of what roads are, and therefore sometimes you'll find a leopard just climbs a marula right next to the road, and that's how you can spot them. But Mulwati has never been seen up a tree, at least in Juma. Possibly on Arathus or the west, possibly. But maybe he just doesn't hoist. I remember having this chat with Tristan and James. Why are we not seeing him more? Now, his territory seems to be huge from what we can gather. He pushed Tingana out, I'm sure of it, and he's also heavily affected Hukamuri's sort of movements. Hukamuri's not having a very good time at the moment. He's got a little bit of pressure from the tortoise pan male. He's got pressure from Mulwati. Maybe him and Tingana will form a little duo coalition. And then Hosanna will come back and join. No, I'm only joking. That's definitely not going to happen. But in all seriousness, what a lucky sighting with Mulwati. I can smell that carcass, Kalamba. Delightful. Simon's firmly decided that Kalamba's his favourite. How can she not be? Now, I had her on Torchwood yesterday, so she stayed on Torchwood. I think Andrew had her this morning. But just to give you some context, we're not too far into Torchwood. We're about 150 metres in from Cheetah Cut Line, from our eastern boundary. But still, she's on Torchwood. What if your mummy comes, Kalamba? You have a new little brother. Debbie, I have no idea. It depends how hungry she is. It depends how full she was. Now, to be honest, Kalamba's killing almost every day. I don't think this cat ever goes hungry. Really. But she's always stocked up. She's like me on the vehicle. I got asked what my hack was this morning, and I couldn't think, but my hack is to always have food, always have snacks. And I think Kalamba's the exact same. But it really depends on the size of the carcass, if it's a big ewe or a big ram, it would maybe take her longer than a lamb. I've seen Kalamba take a few bites of a carcass and just leave it. It really depends, Debbie. Sometimes if they're really, really full, they'll just leave it for days. But it's raining leopards here. Andrew had Tingana, got Kalamba, Mulwati, and I think there's another leopard, I'm not sure who, been spotted literally down south. We go through periods, and I knew this was going to happen. We go through periods of not seeing a leopard for days, and then all of a sudden you kick a marula tree and they just all fall out. I wonder what she's watching. There was elephants not too far away. And we're quite far away from where Mulwati was, but he was heading east. He was heading towards Churchwood. Maddie, again, it depends. It depends on when she first starts mating, environmental factors, resource availability. They say on average a female leopard starts to mate and give birth around 4 years old. And of course the male offspring, the sons, if you like, tend to stay with mom for about 2 years. So every 2 years, technically, she can mate again. And then she has to go through a gestation period of 3.5 months. And then, of course, rear her offspring. Depends how old they live for. But they will reproduce right until the very end. There's no sort of... I mean, look at Tandy. She's doing incredible. It's a natural instinct to reproduce. And even old leopardesses are known to still sort of give birth. Okay, so of course we're not going to go anywhere. After a very busy bumble, we're going to relax just as Kalamba's doing, and we're going to send you guys down to JP.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Tswalu. We just found a small breeding herd of springbok ewes. And if you look closer underneath the belly, you can see that the bellies are quite swollen. So quite often they drop their lambs very close by to periods with high rainfall, but there's sufficient amount of food. Unlike impala, which has got a fixed breeding season, these animals will breed at any time of year and lamb at any time of year. Generally, they've got roughly a 5.5 month gestation period. So what I would like to also point out to you is how well they adapt to tolerate heat. Here you can see how this female has got her bum towards the sun. This is a strategy to deflect the heat away from the main part of the body, while the underparts are also white, and quite often when we do see them, they're feeding on open calcrete plains areas with little sparse grasses. This also helps to deflect the heat downwards again, and not overheat the body. Springbok itself can tolerate very high temperatures, just like oryx, so therefore perfectly adapted to desert and semi-desert environments. I also find it particularly interesting to watch them while they're feeding. Just like impala, they are not selective about grasses or leaf material, like some species of antelope, like kudu, for example, which will only eat leaf material, and species like sable that will almost only graze. So by being able to go both for grass as well as for leaf material, they can maintain a pretty good body condition throughout the year. And we'll also notice in the case of springbok that they can eat incredibly toxic plants without becoming ill from these toxins. majority of the rest of these animals are all busy resting. We're just going to see if we can maybe focus on one of the faces and see what they're busy doing. It seems as if some of them is actually busy ruminating. So quite often when animals like antelope have fed and their stomachs are full, they will regurgitate food and rechew it. And then it will go through a process of a number of different stomach chambers, which will assist with the digestion of the food and enable it to gain the maximum amount of nutrients from the food that it ate.
Welcome to my car. This is Wendy, and she's my favorite. She would love to have your name engraved on her so you can be with her every single time she goes on a safari here in Djuma. If you become a Wild Earth Explorer, you will have the opportunity to buy an engraved tag which we will attach to her. We will make sure to send you a digital picture to show you exactly where you are sitting on her. You will have front row seat in every single sighting.
My name is James Hendry, and I work here at Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands on the western fringes of the Greater Kruger National Park. My favorite part of getting questions from viewers is that we get to have long and varied discussions about all sorts of different aspects of nature. Because our audience comes from all over the world, it's very special to have different perspectives from everywhere. If you want to submit a question on Wild Earth, you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to the Live Safari page and submit your question beneath the live feed.
Hello everyone, my name is Trishala and I am a naturalist and safari guide here in Djuma Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands in South Africa. I think that the information that we provide, and most importantly the questions that you ask, give both you and I a really good idea of what's going on. My friend Fernando here, he's a flat-necked chameleon and I love them. They're just these gems that you manage to find in the bush.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth. Have you been watching Wild Earth and dreamt of being right there on safari with one of the guides? Well, now you can. Wild Earth is offering you a chance to buy a ticket to dream. You or a friend can hop on board a live Wild Earth show and join our guide on safari. The ticket is redeemable at any of our locations, anytime in the future. Only a limited number of tickets are available, so don't wait. Get your ticket now and start dreaming. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Tswalu. We're still with our small breeding herd of springbok, and we're just watching them at the moment. Good afternoon, Kay, and to answer your question, how many is in a group? Sometimes it's only a small number, but however, in the past, when these animals used to migrate along the western part of South Africa, they, from the areas of Western Cape upwards, they would form herds of absolutely thousands and thousands of individuals. They say that these herds would be several kilometers wide and several kilometers long. However, this phenomena no longer occurs, as most of these animals are only found within game reserves which isn't fenced to protect them from the outside world. I would have loved to have been able to see this. I think it's probably one of the most spectacular events in terms of animal migration that we could have experienced within South Africa. There's a lamb at the back. It's just behind that female that's behind the tree. Yeah, can you get into it? Or zoom into her? You get it?
Have a look on the screen now.
Yes, we've got it. Yeah. Also in the group, there is actually a lamb that we have found that was born maybe a few weeks ago already. And then there's also a slightly older individual with horns that just started pushing through.
entirely sure what our cat here is trying to do. It appears she's trying to come down, but can't figure out how to come down. But that can be the case. We know Kalamba. She's very alert. Now, I did hear on the radio, if I've picked it up correctly, the radio is absolutely mayhem today, in a good way. Lots of sightings. I think dogs have crossed into Torchwood from the south heading north. Now, that doesn't mean that they're anywhere near here, but they're on the same property where we are right now. Kalamba, we know you're an expert in the trees. What are you doing? Oh. Kalamba. Well done, Simon. My goodness. That was quite abrupt. Hello. This is just another carcass that we're going to leave behind, dear. Okay, we're going to try to follow Kalamba as best as we can, and we're now going to send you over to some cute little lion cubs.
So we're still with this female lion with her two cubs. Her two cubs are just playing around just behind her. So we're gonna sit with her because the cubs will then come shortly and join mom. And she's still keeping an eye on the direction where she wants to go. So she's still got a long way to go, still, to get to the carcass. So we assume that the carcass it's over the ridge in front of us. And he's gonna quickly point the ridge to you. See that ridge in front of us? Just over that ridge. So we're gonna follow her, like go. She might go over that ridge or use the road to go around. But she's still painting very heavily. Because it was a really hot day today. Look at that. She's definitely pushing herself. Andrew, if the carcass has been removed by another animal, she's gonna try to sniff it to follow the scent. If it's a bigger predator, or perhaps like a man lion, then she's gonna move out the way quickly. But where she's going, she's still within her territory and within her male territory. So if say like for an example, the leopard come across with that carcass, then as soon as she come into the carcass, the leopard will then leave the carcass and run away. But this time of the day, because there's not a lot of hyena activity, so more especially here in Pinda, so she's gonna get there if there's no leopard that did find the carcass, and if there's no bigger male lion in the carcass, then she's fine. She's definitely forcing herself to walk straight there. See, she's waiting for the cubs to get a little bit closer. She's watching them. when first she came across with the cubs, she wanted to rest a little bit before she started leading the way. But the cubs, because they smelled the blood on her mouth, so they really wanted her to keep walking, because they knew that she did manage to kill something, and they were busy biting the mom a little bit. So it seems like she's gonna go right inside that bush in front of her. So what we're going to do, we're gonna loop around back into the road and follow her along the road. Wow, that's really nice. Okay, let's go around so long. So while she is leading the way to go to the carcass, to whatever she caught, and if she does come across with another opportunity to hunt, she will definitely go for it, because they don't know when it's going to be the next meal for them. I have seen lions a day before whereby they caught like 4 or 5 anyalas a day, which is not very common. But she's still walking along there. I still got an eye onto her. So I think while we're looping around, we're gonna take you to Lauren. He's gonna show you the very beautiful leopard.
Beautiful view indeed. Simon's getting very creative here. I'm loving every moment of it. Hello. Luckily for us, she's now on a fallen over marula. Oh no. Okay, good. She's actually putting her head inside and seeing if there's anything edible. Look at that leg splayed. Oh, Tlalamba, you make my heart melt every single time. I'm getting asked just previously about how many cubs a leopard can have, and it's so difficult. It's a big investment. It's a big maternal investment for most mammals to have offspring, especially for a leopard. A life of solitary. Avoiding your enemies, male and female. Finding males to mate with. Hunting. Stashing your offspring away in a den so that no one can find them. Then rearing them, lactation. Then teaching them to hunt. Then hunting for them. It's a big investment. Then mothers have to sort of give a section of their territory away to their daughters. So then she'll have to shift her own. It's not a case of, here is a chunk of my territory, dear, you enjoy. No, it's all about shifting and moving like a mobile jigsaw puzzle. Everyone's got to fit around and fit into this puzzle. Tlalamba obviously won't just take a small section of a territory. She will to start with, but then she'll expand. So then the mother's got to shift and change and maneuver. Then everyone around the mother's got to shift and change. It's a really, really high level of investment for a leopard to have cubs. And I think, personally, that it's a lot more difficult for leopards to raise cubs successfully than lions. Although lions have their own challenges, absolutely. They're so lucky in the fact that they allosuckle. And there's nannies everywhere. They're part of the pride. They do all look after one another. Whereas a female leopard, they've got to do it on their own. There's no one else there to suckle, no one else to babysit, no one else to watch guard. There's a high level of maternal care for lions as well. But for leopards, I just think it's remarkable, and Tandy's done such a fine job. Look at the size of those paws, they are not small. Her weapons. They look very cute, but I can assure you, once those claws come out, they're protected. Protractable claws, protected in sheaths, kept nice and sharp for when she needs them. Pixie, she does look comfortable, doesn't she? She looks almost like that water monitor we had this morning. She's a tree hugger. She's hugging the trees. I love to hug a tree every now and then. But in all fairness, it's probably nice and cool for her. It's stable. It's the trunk. It's a fallen marula, so that's the trunk. It's nice and flat, thick. She's not precariously balancing herself. She's very full. It's been a really lucky day leopard-wise. There's 4 different leopards in one day from sunrise to sunset. We just need Tandy to rock up. Should probably go into quite a deep snooze right now, but the sun is starting to set. It's slightly overcast, and I imagine once it gets dark, our kitty hero will wake up and be active once again. You can hear the woodland kingfishers in the background. They never stop. Summer's a chance to stock up on all your nutrition and fat reserves. It's the perfect time for Tlalamba to really sort of increase, fill out if there's any filling out she's left to do. She's territorial now, and get ready for potentially being a mother at some point next year. Potentially. Wishful thinking. You can see on her paw, the spots are complete circular black spots. It's only when you get to the sort of body, as if you go up her arm, Simon, I'll give you a view, there you go. Normally around the elbow region, they start to turn into what we call rosettes. You see, they're not full solid circles of black. Gwynne, for us, I mean, we spend a lot of time with these leopards. A lot of time, more than you'll ever know. And I think it's safe for me to say they all look incredibly different. It may take some time to get used to them, but I'm sure even Simon, who's new with us, will start to be able to see the difference. Once you spend time with them, they do all look different, and you can start to pick out key features. Now, when you see a leopard, we spotted Mulwati from afar, very far. And immediately when we zoomed in, look for genitals. If you don't, I didn't know who it was. I knew that Kalamba was here. I knew that Andrew had Tingana. Who could it be? And immediately look for genitals. That's your first protocol. Is it male? Is it female? And of course, with Mawawati, it was very obviously male. Then you want to look for any key identification features that you can. So for Hukamuri, he's missing his eye. For Nsele, missing an eye. Tingana, huge droopy dewlap. And then look at the face. And they all do have very different faces, but if Simon can just zoom in to her whiskers, they actually have a spot pattern. And the spot pattern is that top row of whiskers, if you like, and each individual leopard will have a spot pattern, but it's not unique to each leopard, and that's the tricky thing. Some leopards will have the same spot pattern, but for example, Kalamba is 5'5". So if you just look at that very top line, you can see 5 dots. You see? So each leopard will have a spot pattern. So if you're really unsure who you've just seen, try to look at the spot pattern. But if you're new with us, you really will, after a while, get used to the different looks. And you can also start to see leopards that are related, but that takes time, of course. But genital check, key identification, key features, and then look at the spot pattern. Also, if you're really unsure, try to look at where you are out here. Each leopard that we know really of who's an adult will have a territory. You're not going to find Shadulu on Torchwood. So if you find a leopard that you think, oh, could this be Shadulu? If it's on Torchwood, it's not going to be Shadulu. So you can sort of start to piece together the jigsaw like that. They all have unique walks. They all have unique behaviors. Eventually, you do get used to it. So from one sleepy apex predator, we're going to send you across to another.
Wow. Seems like this female lioness with her cubs, she found a nice little pen system just amongst the grass there. So she's busy drinking at the moment because it was a nice hot day. Look like she is just finishing drinking now. But where she was drinking, I don't think it's a nice clear water. It's a very dirty water, which means the lions, they do have like a strong stomach. So lions in a hot day, if there's a hot water hole close by, they will definitely go and drink water. Sometimes they do drink blood of the animal that they caught. But normally, if it's near the water hole, even in a hot, and if they've got a carcass close by, they have to go and drink water. So there's some impalas right up ahead on a hillside. They're running away now. So they have seen the leopard. They have seen the lion walking through here. So they quickly ran away. So it seems like they just gone behind the bush now. We're gonna try to follow them. I think we're gonna stick with these lions and see what they are going to do. We're gonna take you to Andrew. He's gonna show you some elephants.
Good, great. So it's nice also to have something different. Well, not different, but we have bull elephant who is actually trying to move around quite a lot. Unless if I move slightly forward, which is, I think, it will be slightly visible from here. He's trying to hide from us, but I think it's not thick enough for him to stay away from us. And it looks like actually one of the these males that are always separated from one another, what the male elephants does, they in a bachelor group, just like what impalas do sometimes, and also the kudu, they can do this, or separate our males far from the female. But though, since they're actually quite big animal, it actually, their own benefit is so good because they don't have to be close together. Then it's a lot of push one another. The weakest always has to move off of the great feeding spot, pushed by the bigger one. So when they're far from one another, it's so good that they spend a lot of time. Adam, so you want to know if the elephant have emotion or fear. So they do, and most of them behavior that elephants have, and it's very interesting about this animal, where their fear or emotion they have, it's closely related to even human, where we, in a family member, when somebody die, we all so sad and all cry around. Same to this animal. And of course, some of these behavior they got similar to human. But in terms of also knowing that every time they do something different to other animal, it's a hurt. They know that. If this fight between the bull, one injured to death, the partner will get up to that fight, walk away knowing that it's done big damage to the other bull, probably is going to die. But this is also applied the same with a rhino. They're actually quite big animal, but it's easy for them to hide. But at the same time, they do actually fear of a lot of things in their lives, including human. We are a threat. Sometimes this fear we're talking about, when they're actually not happy about or scared of something they're not sure about. So they finally run away from anything so small like a lizard, sometimes moving through across them by mistake and they don't see it. And then of course, they all heard. Normally in a herd, they just ran, all of them. Stop from a far distance. But when they stop looking at the back, they're all, expecting such a big thing they can see. Meanwhile, it was a smaller thing. So I'm sure he's just going to hide away from us. But we're going to carry on. Hopefully we'll get another space back to that Otingana again. Would be good just to see how he does.
Now the skies are heavy. The clouds are thick. It's getting dark. I do wonder if we're in store for something tonight. We had a drizzle today. I don't know if that's a correct term, but we had something. It rained on us for about 5 minutes, if that. 5 minutes, Simon? At 9:30 this morning, and then it disappeared. But I think tonight we're in for more rain. I can feel it. I think Klalamba can feel it too. On that note, though, I do firmly believe that most of the organisms out here, from your tiny, minuscule little insects to your large mammals or your birds, even fish, even your underwater creatures can feel changes in the atmosphere. Fish, obviously, maybe not in the aerial atmosphere, but underwater they can detect things that are going to happen. You will see changes in the coral reef before a huge storm happens. The fish will disappear long before the storm, and they will be hiding in their little nooks and crannies and crevices. Long before the storm hits, they knew it was coming. And I'm a firm believer that all the other animals out here also know when something's rolling in. They have such a different sensory world from us. They can detect pressure changes, atmospheric changes. Look at that face. Kalamba, is it going to rain tonight? I think that's a yes. So we're going to sit here as long as we can and admire our beautiful princess.
Trying to see if we can make our way back to that Ghana and so I think I have to text standby and see if maybe we got another visual of him. But the last update is that he's still flat on that last position we left him, so no change. So we believe that, you know, we might have to see him again, unless if maybe he move into a river where nobody can follow there due to a wedge. But if you stick on a road, and I think the lock is going to be going until we all have a good look at him. So you probably maybe later going to contact, which is all about, you know, territorial vocalization that leopards do, especially when it's dark, where this sound travels so much further, since it's not a lot of noise that happening, except for frogs and all of his cicadas and yes, they do a lot of move from there. Sound can travel far away. Next, dude. So you're asking if it's rare to see a leopard mating. If you have a lot of, you know, male or mix of male, females in the area, actually it's not rare, but it's only rare to actually, you know, notice even when you find them, whether the female she's on estuaries or males. Male is always ready to mate. Females, she comes on estuaries. Then it's not rare. Actually, when they mate, they actually mate publicly. You have a chance to see them mate right in the open. If it's a chance, it's an open space. Sometimes you gotta have a look. You know, mating is similar lines, so it's continue going for at least 3 days. And then the process like that sometimes can be about 2.5, 3 days roughly, mating non-stop. So now we come across the bull giraffe right in front of us. So yeah, that's why I'm very much actually interested to head back that way, because I know I searched few roads that I was hoping to come across that female to see which female is it that walk along that road. And then if it happened hooked up together, and then of course, and then if she's not pregnant or at some stage she's on estrus, and it means that, you know, they're hooked up together. There's a chance maybe tomorrow if you find them still in the area, and they're actually quite easy to actually find them, because if you know the couple that have walked into an area, you always have to stop and listen, maybe take time listening around for any of the audio. They maybe make sound when they mate. Usually they do that, and then you know exactly where they are. So looking at the southern giraffe here, busy browsing, and look how tall he is. Michael, so you want to know how tall is giraffe, especially the males. They get up to 6 meter high. Females that get 3.5 to 4 meter high sometimes, but the males are a lot taller. So he's busy looking at us. He's probably because they have actually incredible hearing. And us sights, they have a lot of chance to see far enough around them because they're a lot taller animal. See, there's ears. They're always switching back, forth, just like a satellite. This is actually to deduct any of a sound coming from the back or wherever. But sense of smell also is great. And you're just staring at us, look. Just heard an owlet calling from the background. So I'm gonna leave this giraffe now. I'm sending you over to Lauren with her Relax, a leopard.
We're still snoozing here, not Simon and I, but Miss Tlalamba. She's very relaxed. She's been a little bit upset at vehicles recently. You may see an awful video circulating, but I think with any wild animal, with any cat, you must give them space. We're positioned really far away from her. We let her walk away before we followed. Always got to make sure you give an animal space. But she has been snarling. You've got to read an animal's body language. It's really, really important. And even if you don't see the signs immediately, you're not paying enough attention, which can happen by accident, you must react immediately. Leopards will let you know when they're not happy, as will elephants, as will lions, as will birds. As will certain fish in the ocean, like the triggerfish. If any of you have ever heard of the Titan triggerfish, then you'll know what I mean. If you've not, Google it. Titan triggerfish. You will be horrified at the images Google brings. I have scars all over my legs from this fish. I am more scared of it than I am a shark, including a tiger shark and a great white shark. This fish is terrifying. It's only protecting its babas, so... And it's normally a female that's guarding her nest. She gets very upset if any snorkeler or swimmer or diver goes across her nest, but you don't realize you're doing it. You can't see it. And this fish will come at you with its teeth and bite you. It will not stop. But my point here is it gives you the warning signs beforehand. You've just got to know to look for them. And if you're too busy looking at a turtle or something else, then you won't see it. I spent $500 on a pair of fins once, carbon fiber fins. I was very proud of them. And a Titan triggerfish crunched right through them. But all animals will give signs, most likely. You've just got to be very, very aware, hyper aware out here. Even hyenas. I've never personally seen it with vehicles, but if they're not happy, they'll definitely let you know. And we spoke about body language in elephants this morning. It was a nice discussion, but there's also body language that you can read in most mammals. When you sort of get to other groups of animals, it becomes a little bit trickier to relate, but you can definitely read the signs. Even bees and wasps, and I'm talking about the sort of bees in the UK and the wasps in the UK, once you start moving your arms back and forward and you start screaming and you're getting angry at the wasp and you want it to go away, the wasp is going to react. And it'll start really flying at you fast and furious before stinging you, which can be rather painful. But if you just react calm, watch the wasp, it's just going to fly around you, it's just going to fly away, it's not going to bother you. Your reaction causes a change in the wasp's reaction. And although I maybe wouldn't call it body language, you still can pay attention to that wasp to avoid being stung most of the time. It's getting quite dark here. We may have to go into IR soon. What do you think, Simon? Grown up. Testicles? Testicles is a good point. They're very obvious in male leopards. Very obvious. Lovely golden orbs, we shall call them. Females obviously do not have them, but other than that, size. Male leopards are much larger than females, and it's only really when you see them together, and I'm talking about from my perspective as well. You get so used to seeing females, you get so used to seeing males. It's not until you see them together that you see this substantial size difference. It's really large. Females are very petite. They say that females can go between 30 to 60 kilograms, but 60 is pushing it. I don't think any of our leopardesses out here are anywhere near 60 kilograms, and the males can grow up to 90. Much larger tracks, much larger bodies, and the males generally have a huge dewlap. They get that when they come into their prime, just like a lion's mane. The male leopards develop quite the dewlap. But other than that, that's it. But if you're ever confused, just look for genitals. As with all animals, do a quick genital check, and immediately you'll have your answer. The tricky ones are elephants. Elephants can be really difficult to sex. Hyenas, of course. Hippos can be tricky. Rhinos also tricky. But other than that, I think it's getting a little bit too dark here now. Simon, have you got your IR light on? Okay, we're going to go into IRFC. Okay, so the picture's going to change from color, ta-da, into black and white, just like that. And that's because we don't have enough ambient light anymore. We do not shine spotlights. So the picture will look quite different, but we're now using our infrared light. It's just getting a little bit too dark there. There was a question there, I didn't catch the name, about have I ever witnessed a leopard given birth. Not in the wild, I have not. They're very secretive about it. It was from Matt. No, I have not. I'm not sure any of us have. Normally they give birth in sort of drainage lines, deep in the thicket, and they'll stash them in a den site. That's because there's it's a low survival rate for leopard cubs, and I think if we came across a leopard that was given birth, that would be a tricky situation. Would you stay to avoid further disturbance? You definitely would not call it in on the radio, or would you just leave to let the leopardess be? I guess you would have to make that decision at the time, but they're very, very secretive about it. Okay, I'm going to make a decision whether to let Tlalamba snooze and go and head off for some other nocturnal animals, but we're now going to send you across to some lions.
Wow. We still with these 3 lions. We're still following them. Although we did go through the area where we couldn't show you what was happening, but you didn't miss out a lot. We still following them. She's still leading the cubs to where she caught an animal. just there. I think let's go there quickly and have a look what's happening. I'm gonna go along. Seems like she's gone. She's sitting up there with the long grass. See what's what. We're gonna go a little bit closer and have a look.
Welcome back to Tswalu. We've been searching high and low for little Cape foxes.
Sorry about that. I don't know where you came from, but you're back with us. And Sleepy Tlalamba, of course. Now, I do think this is the last segment we'll do on her and just let her sleep. Sometimes I feel enough is enough in a sighting, and you need to make that call as a guide to be able to say, let's let the animal be. She's not bothered by our presence in any way, shape or form, but we've been spoiled today, and you never know what other nocturnal animals we're going to bump into. Now, Mulwati was definitely on patrol. I'd love to bump into him again. He got named after our dry riverbed, although it's not so dry anymore, that's for sure. Our soggy riverbed, the Mulwati. It's still not 100% drivable just yet after the rains, but it was definitely flowing then. So it's really not the dry riverbed, is it? But he's named after the Mulwati. And I really do hope we get to see Tlalamba mating. She may have mated already, but I really hope we get to see it. I know that sounds strange, but we get to know exactly who she's mating with. That doesn't mean they'll be the father of the offspring, if she has any, but it gives us a better understanding. Well, Miss Tlalamba, you have been an absolute pleasure. I'm not sure you've enjoyed our company as much as we've enjoyed yours. She might be around tomorrow. There's definitely some meat left on that kill. But knowing Tlalamba, she might not be around tomorrow. Who knows? It'd be nice if she crossed back onto Juma. Don't tell the Torchwood people that. Okay, Simon, are you ready to bumble? Let us bumble. I'm just getting my spotlight out. Okay, goodbye, Tlalamba. She's put her head away. She knows we're leaving. We're in a bit of a thicket. I'm just going to navigate out of here and see what other nocturnal creatures, or crepuscular creatures, should I say, we can see for the evening. Okay, I'm going to try and navigate my way out of here in the dark, and we're going to send you across to Andrew to see what he's up to.
Good luck, Lauren. So what update that I have now is that, Tingana, he actually got mobile, but then he had northwest from that last position. So, and now I'm gonna try see if I can get there, but no, maybe not get to feed to everybody, in terms of maybe it's going to be lower down, so the signal is going to be exactly where he's going, where he had a kill for a few days, since yesterday. That's where he's going back to. So I'm going to get another update from the guys that they're following up on him. So if he maybe change his mind coming back south, then of course he's going to be heading back to that northern boundary between Djuma and Rabisuk. So that's the update so far. But I'm also hoping, since I'm working with the spotlight now, to see if, that female leopard tracks that we saw, she's around. Because yes, it happened that maybe she didn't move far away, but it's got to be about communication. If she ever vocal or he ever communicates, makes any sound, this is how then you will know exactly that she's still around. Because then either she will respond or not respond. Maybe later she will sneak in, because from vocalization, they won't sometimes tell which one is which until they see one another. But she will know it's a male. You will know it's a female. That vocalization is taking place on the other side. So that's what I'm hoping, actually, to see it happen. The way he was actually pushing south, I always cross my finger that he would end up somewhere around Gary Dam or Galago Pen area. So, but it doesn't look like it. It's probably needed a shade away. We just left him just for a rest a bit, and then gain more energy to move again. But with that full belly, I don't think he would carry on for a long move. It's probably going to settle down for another couple of hours. Understand the temperature is dropping now. It's already dropped down, so we're probably going to interested on moving. So while I'm doing this, shining around, hoping to find any of the other female around here, I'm going to be sending you over to JP.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Tswalu. We've just taken a little bit of a break and started walking around a little bit to see what we could find in the bush. And we came on this little midden that we have right in front of us. This is a midden that's been created by a wildebeest bull, which is a territorial male that has been protecting this area against other intruding males. He keeps this little territory all year round. So one of the ways that they do mark is by means of feces. And quite often they will roll in their own dung so that scent can impregnate on their coat. But they also have another method of marking. Underneath their eye, there's a very prominent gland, which is known as a preorbital gland, which will provide a sticky secretion, which they will often wipe on the side of branches. And here you can see where this deposit has been left behind on the branch, as it's been using it over a period of time. As mentioned in one of the previous episodes, in South Africa, wildebeest tends to have males that are territorial, keep their territories all year round. We also find that they don't migrate, unlike the wildebeest that we find in East Africa, which is the same species as well. We're just going to, for a few seconds, provide you with the opportunity to enjoy that sunset for a short while before we're going to move on. Good afternoon and welcome to For Show, Tracy. I do agree with you. And these sunsets is my favorite part of the day, and they always put a smile on my heart. And there's no place like for Kalahari when it comes to sunsets. And meanwhile, while you're enjoying the final moments of that sunset, we're going to hand you over to Bosani, who is currently viewing lion.
Wow, we have finally found the carcass of this female lioness that she caught. She actually caught a warthog. It was a big female warthog that she caught. So the cubs is busy feeding just up behind behind the long grass there. We can just see the head sticking out now and then. And if we listen, we may hear some flies. You can actually see the flies around here. Because she caught it earlier today, and the flies, and she did feed a little bit after that, and the flies get that scent of the smell, and they all are busy laying eggs around the carcass. So when the cubs first saw the carcass, they were so happy, so excited. But I'm so happy that I did get it right, that they're gonna be feeding perhaps on a warthog or a nyala. I was wrong with the nyala, but I was 100% right with the warthog. Wow, I'm so happy. Finally, we did get to see what they were feeding on. Giraffe girl, the cubs are not too tired because they didn't walk a long distance like mom did, and very big distance. That is why she's lying flat right next to the cubs, and she's letting the cubs to feed, because she knows that the more she feed the cubs, it's when the cubs gonna grow bigger and bigger quicker as well. That is why if you had to see the cubs in Kruger National Park that are in the same age as these ones, they look so small than these ones here in Pinda. Wow, but it's unbelievable. And first, when we first find her, we didn't see the carcass, but we saw the blood on her face, and I knew exactly that she did make a kill. That shows you that with an experience of you being in the bush, you do become familiar with these animals around here, and the behavior as well. And because she wasn't stopping all the time, she wasn't a machine walking around and trying to cover some ground. So we knew exactly that. I knew exactly that she's gonna go and fetch the cubs. She did make a kill somewhere close by. Or where we first found her, it wasn't too far away from here. So probably this kill it happened midday sometimes. So the lions here in Pinda, as I said earlier on, they are adapted to walk in the daytime to specifically look for warthogs. So she might have caught these warthogs not too far from here. So there's, I'm sure she might have pulled it right against this bush on the left-hand side and tried to hide it away from vultures. Because some other predators, some other predators do watch the vultures. Where the vultures are landing, they know that there's food. Then they will quickly rest there and investigate what's there. And she's so clever and smart to hide the carcass away.
An ever-increasing part of the global population is losing its connection with nature. Wild Earth is here to reduce people's stress and anxiety, allowing you to escape into nature even just for a few hours a day. However, Wild Earth is expensive to run, and we need help from you to keep this ship going. Wild Earth Explorers gives you the opportunity to be part of a program that supports the sharing of nature with the world.
Jumbo, my name is Isaac Rotich. I come live to you every day from the Mara Triangle in Kenya, East Africa. I think the most underrated animal here where we are is the spotted hyena. And the main reason is people haven't read any literature to fully understand about this super predator.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth. Wild Earth is launching our brand new Explorer program with an opportunity to win a very special Wild Earth expedition. The lucky winner will get a behind-the-scenes Wild Earth experience at the magnificent and beyond Ngala Tainted Safari Camp. The prize includes a 3-night stay for you and a friend with a chance to sleep out in the unique Ngala treehouse. Become a Wild Earth Explorer and stand a chance to win this and many other prizes. Terms and conditions apply.
You are cheeky. That was a brave decision. Amber Eyes is... Oh. That is so magic. That was absolutely wonderful. Amber Eyes just gave that cub an enormous hug.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
Wow, we're still sitting with these lions, and the cubs are still busy feeding at the back there. And one of the female cubs, she went and joined mom, and now she's going back to the carcass again to feed. You can just see the movement there, busy pulling that carcass away. And because there's only 2 of them, there's not a lot of fighting that's going on. So the female warthog, it's like a decent sized animal. And they can all, like both of them, they can feed without fighting. If it was like the whole pride here, there will be a lot of fighting and a lot of growling as well. But they're quite happy where they are. You can just hear them chewing now and then. Hear that crunch of a bone. But have a look how long the grass is around where they are. And for her to ambush the warthogs around here, it did give her a very good opportunity to catch the warthog. And can you imagine the size of the warthog? It's not very tall. It's not a very tall animal, the warthog here. So for her to catch the warthogs, it was a lot easier. I think we're gonna take you across to JP. He's gonna show you some jackal.
Welcome back to Tswalu. Just as we're sitting enjoying the sun, 2 black-backed jackals suddenly made their appearance. They're incredibly curious at the moment, coming closer and closer to the vehicle to inspect what we're up to. They're also incredibly playful, so I hope that they're going to start playing with one another again. So black-backed jackal is probably one of the most common dog species throughout South Africa. And as you can notice, it has overall red coloration with a dark black saddle, hence the name black-backed jackal. To our eastern half of South Africa, we find another jackal species, which is known as a side-striped jackal, which looks like a miniature version of a little wolf with a white stripe on the flank and a white tail tip. I do love jackals. They're probably one of the most fascinating animals for me in the bush. We often find them that they are incredibly playful and also incredibly intelligent. And they always find ways of creating means to end, and especially in terms of creating chaos quite often when it comes to kills. They often follow animals such as cheetah, African wild dog and others, and as soon as these animals will make a kill, they will start alarm calling to attract other predators. In the midst of chaos, they normally hope that they can catch something. These two little guys, however, they're just disappearing for the evening. They're going to go and trot off, see what they can go and find. Hopefully they'll be able to get a little meal and see some of the...
Just got him behind the pole. Yeah, we can see him again.
Okay, we've just got back onto them. Good afternoon, Elizabeth. Just to add on to your comment, yes, they are stunning animals to watch, and especially if you can find jackal pups. They're probably some of the most playful animals as well to watch. What I also find incredibly fascinating is when we do have males and females, they also form lifelong pairs. And quite often when we hear them calling in the afternoon, you hear the long drawn-out ow call that they produce. And what I find fascinating about that is that each of these jackals have their own unique call. So you can actually identify specific individuals by means of a call. They've just disappeared down the road. We've lost visual of them. But yeah, we're going to just turn back to that beautiful sunset that everybody can just enjoy. And it's absolutely stunning with the clouds this evening. So quite often if we do have clouds, it actually just makes the sunset so much more beautiful and picturesque. Just going to we're just going to provide everybody a short little while just to soak up those beautiful sounds as well as that sunset. While we're enjoying that sunset, I just would like to use the opportunity to say thank you very much for Davi, who was joining me this week behind the camera. Davi is unfortunately going to leave us, and he will be replaced by Craig tomorrow. So just to say hello, Craig.
Hello.
And in the meanwhile, we also just would like to say thank you very much for joining us on Wild Earth. May you all have a wonderful evening. And we hope to catch up with you tomorrow morning at 5:30 Central African Time.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and